Guys, stop apologizing for being proud of yourself. Sometimes people that talk to me, they'll be like, oh my God, they'll be like, I'm sorry, man. I feel like I'm just talking about myself. I'm like, hey man, listen, it's okay to believe in yourself around me, buddy. Okay? You're giving me hope. When good shit happens to people, I get hopeful. Cause that's the positive about being selfish.
Welcome to FredTalk, where if you're not learning, hopefully you're laughing.
Big kid energy, baby. Welcome to the FredTalk podcast. I'm your host, Freddie Valoy. We out here, B. We are out here doing it, all right? If you haven't checked it out yet, I do live streams on Mondays at 9 o'clock, all right? That's going to be a thing now. I'm going to get on for as long as I want to. They've been running a little bit over 50 minutes each one, and I cover different topics. Check it out. It's a ton of fun. So those are Mondays at 9 o'clock. You can catch it on YouTube, Instagram Live, Twitch, and Facebook. You can comment, give your input. I'll, piggyback off your comment. If it's good enough, if it ain't, then I'll just ignore it and act like I never saw it, It's just how it is in life. Sometimes you do something and someone acts like, because they don't even want to go through telling you that it wasn't good, And that's okay, especially in the context of YouTube. I hope you guys had a great holiday and New Year. I mean, check out the most recent Dolo cast. There's holiday stories there. There's thoughts on the holidays. The holidays are the best time to break up with someone. I've been fucking letting it fly, guys, and I feel great. If you started this podcast with me from the beginning, you would know that I was not feeling like this. I feel like I got the old piece of me back. I got an old part of myself back, which I feel like it just feels good, guys. It feels good to feel like myself again, When I started the podcast, I was in the middle of depression, and now I feel like I'm out of it. I feel, I still look over my shoulder and shit. You never know, because you don't want depression hitting you with the fucking depression's the kind of person, the kind of thing that would punch like this. It's not even actually. Maybe I can't say that because depression sucks. So maybe actually, depression's a trained boxer, guys. All right, this thing is fucking waking up at 5 a.m. and cracking an egg and drinking it and fucking ready to fuck your day up if you do too many of the wrong things at once. All right. For some people, it's eating wrong. For some people, it's this. For some people, it's that. For some people, it's just not being yourself. I think when you put on the filters and you're not being yourself, you're leading yourself down a path to be depressed as fuck. Now, this is not counting just like straight up clinically, hey, you are not producing enough serotonin. Obviously, you guys always know I give that disclaimer. I'm talking about the situational depression people, the people that you weren't really depressed, but then you hit this like midlife crisis or quarter life crisis. I think it's midlife for me. I got a hot 60 in me for sure. 80 is pushing it. I could feel like I could hit 70 if this is, I wouldn't be surprised if I hit 70. If I hit 80, I would be very surprised. You don't see that many tall 80-year-olds. Yeah. So, I'm feeling good now. This is episode 50 something of the podcast. We're out here doing it. And today's guest, back by popular demand, guys. She's back by popular demand. She is a firebrand. She is one of my best friends. I love that I say that. She's my little sister. She's my little sister, and I love her so much. Me and my sister are, when we were kids, if you follow the podcast, there was some childhood trauma, abusive dad. He was no longer in the picture. Then we got the stepdad. The stepdad was holding it down. My man, he taught me how to be he's the fucking, shout out to you, Joey. I love you. Jose Mercado. Love you. And it was just me and my sister hanging out, playing. We weren't really allowed out the house, so we would play like fun games. I remember one time, our rooms were like down the hall from each other. Like we had this long hallway in our place, and we had walkie-talkies. Fucking cool, right? When you were a kid and if you're a boy and you got you knew how fucking awesome that was. So my sister, since I didn't have I couldn't go outside, she was my test dummy for things. Any new wrestling moves, any toy I got that was 2 players, she would play with me. I used to force her to sit down with me I used to force her to sit down with me and watch Family Guy, The Simpsons, anything funny. I was always trying to watch funny shit. Mad TV, Saturday Night Live. Literally, I was always trying to find funny stuff. When I was young, I was like, how could people just not always want to watch funny stuff? How could you not always just want to be laughing? I still kind of feel like that, but I get it though. You know, you want some drama, you want the thrillers. I don't get the fucking murder documentaries. That shit makes me uncomfortable. Don't like that. That's weird, but you know, we out here. But my sister, awesome girl, awesome broad. She's a certified broad. Like, her and I went through a phase where we weren't that cool with each other. And it was because, you know, just when you know someone has the potential and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, it's frustrating as fuck. Holler if you hear me, you know? I know you might have somebody like that in your life. If you don't, you're probably that person in someone's life. So get your shit together, okay? Get your shit together. You're making someone's emotionally invested in you that much that you not going after your full potential is fucking them up inside, dude. Isn't that crazy? Fucking wild. But we went through this phase. It's a normal thing. It happens to everybody in life. I'm sure I did that to my mom. You do it to somebody. You go through this thing where you feel like you lose your way or whatever. But I was just like, Amanda, you're better than this. What do you like? You know, she's been through some hard relationships, been through some trauma, and she's bounced back like the fucking queen she is. I'm so proud of my little sister. Like, words can't even express. Like, I mean, she's like, I would say the female version of me. She wrestled in high school, guys, and she like beat boys. She like won matches against boys, and then had a lot of close matches where she lost, but she she had a lot of close matches, but she lost. She was actually the basis for like a long time roast joke I would do on guy friends. Like, if I'd be like, you know, tell him like a girl could beat him up. I'd be like, no, she won't beat him. He would beat her, but it'd be a really close fight, which to me is worse than just losing. Like, if you're a dude and you're like physically fighting with a girl and you're like, it's like a close match. Like, that's just, to me, that's funnier than just losing outright. But yeah, she's a bad bitch. Okay. She was on the podcast last time talking about, you know, she met a dude. She met a dude and she's happy. She's smitten. That's still the case. It's even more so now. And when we talked to her last, she was just about to embark on her journey. Her and her boyfriend sold everything and they traveled around the country for 9 months in a camper. This was before Corona. This is before, you know, I know the van life trend was something that was coming up and it really exploded during COVID because that was all most people could do. But they did that before. They traveled to 20 something states. It just opened my sister's perspective and it really just amplified the amazing woman that she is. All her experiences, her open-mindedness. We talk about her journey there. We talk about honesty because she's on the honesty kick with me as well, because my sister, like me, is a charismatic person that can draw energy and draw attention and make you feel good and this and that. But when we were young, we were lying pieces of shit, right? You use your powers for evil if you're misguided. And we did that. We used our powers for evil. We lied. We would lie to people. We cheated. We this and that. But that ain't the case anymore, right? We're out here. We're on the. We talk multiple times a week, and we always talk about just how, you know, we always talk about how, you know, we used to lie and shit like that. And now, like, when you're an actual, like, deep down a real person, like, you really, like, you're a real person, at a certain point, the lies just become uncomfortable. Because you're tired, you don't want to fake, you don't want to have to mind your facial expressions when people talk. You just want to be able to let it out, and then whatever comes your way, it's what it is. So when a genuinely honest person gets out of their lying phase because of their fearful whatever, because you know you go through a traumatic life, you develop mechanisms so you could survive, right? I heard a quote that said someone's thing that frustrates you could be their ingenious way to survive the day. And I think about that quote probably on a daily basis now, and it's helped with my patience with human beings, guys. A lot of people like to be like, I don't trust people. You see, like, some people on Instagram is just like, I only trust me and my, shut the fuck up, dude. Change your circle. start trusting. Like, I trust people. I trust people to be human beings, and human beings fuck up. That's why I'm not. What do you do? Are you giving people your social security number? What are you talking about? Grow the fuck up. Do the work, heal, and put yourself out there, baby. This is life. We out here, B. We are out here. So we talk about honesty. We talk about different relationship stuff. She's one of the main people I go to for relationship shit. And she's on point. She's on point, guys. I'm not going to hold it off anymore. Amanda, I love you. Anybody listening to this, I want you to know that I love my little sister so much, and she's the fucking best. And I wish her the best, and she's going to be the shit. Anything she does, I told her. Anything. If my sister all of a sudden came back and she's like, yo, I'm an astronaut now. I'm an astronaut. That's why I didn't talk to you for 6 months. I was in training camp, and now I'm an astronaut, and I'm gonna be the first bitch to go to Mars, because that's how she would say it. She'd be like, I'm gonna be the first nigga up there in Mars, you know. Again, if she told me that, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be like, oh, that makes sense. I mean, she just pivoted, and she's an astronaut, because she's got it like that, guys. Without any further ado, guys, give it up for Amanda Valoy. All right, Amanda. So last time you were here, you and your boyfriend, Bill, were thinking about selling. You were not thinking about. You were on your way. You sold your stuff and you traveled the country in RV. What was that like? This was before Corona too. So,
it was.
How long did you spend?
We did 9 months before COVID hit. So we got on the road in October. We visit 26 states. Which is kind of crazy when I think about it, that we did that many states in 9 months. And it was one of the most incredible spiritual journeys I've ever gone through in my life.
All right. I like that word spiritual coming from you, because a lot of people are using the word spiritual. And like, what does that word mean to you? Like, why would you say it's spiritual?
For me, it's more of like growing and learning and becoming more than what I was before I got on the road. Like, I feel like I said last night to Rachel when she asked me, like, you know, what did you learn on the trip? Like, what do you feel? I was like, with everything going on in the world right now, I got to see how truly our country really is and how beautiful it truly is. Like, I feel like you don't have to go across the country to go see something nice. Obviously, I love doing that too. I've been, to London, but there were places I didn't even know that we had that was so magical, like breathtaking, you know, like being surrounded by mountains in the middle of nowhere. And it was just such a spiritual of an enlightenment for me as a person, like, and who I want to be and who I want to become.
It seems like it opened up your perspective in general, like
completely.
And even it could be even more so too, because like you said, you didn't travel the world, which also obviously gains massive perspective. But like the fact that you did it within your own country and still saw so much was probably another level to that as well. And I noticed the shift on you as well. You went from, I mean, you guys gained a ton of weight on the road.
Yes.
You said, right?
Yeah. We were living our best life, eating and drinking, and like, we weren't working. So what we did was eat and drink, and we put on weight. And then like for a while we were just like, we should do better. We should work out. We should this. And then I was like, nah, that shit could wait until like we're done doing this and we pick where we're gonna live. And then, so I don't regret it. I'm glad I lost all the weight though. I feel great about myself.
How much weight did you lose?
20 pounds, because I gained 20.
Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
That's great.
Thank you, yeah.
When were you finally like, all right, I gotta lose this shit? Like,
when we got to Idaho, because everyone's so fit and hot, and we were both like, I would never forget, we were at Walmart and Bill came up to me. He's like, dude, I was like, well, he's like, do you see the people that live here? I'm like, yeah. The girls, he's like, they're beautiful. They're fit, like brolic fit at that. Yeah. And I was like, the dudes too. And he's like, yeah, if we're going to live here, babe, we got to do better. And I was like, all right. So we started working out. We started calorie counting. He lost 15 at the time, and he's actually still going, because I put on 20, but he put on more. Yeah. So he's still like working on it. Like he just signed up for a gym now. Like it just became a part of our lifestyle. Like we meal prep now, like that's it. Because there's no more, like we still go out and have a good time, but we don't drink as much as we used to. We don't splurge on eating as much as we did, because that was the point of the road trip, was try different foods everywhere. But now that we've picked our place where we're going to live, we're like, okay, let's go back to our routine.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how was that for your relationships? Because I know, I know when you were first talking about this trip, one of the first things people thought was like,
I was scared.
How can you guys be in this small camper together? That's a lot of time together. You get all those remarks and shit like that.
It was very like negative A lot of like, even like
Your mindset or the
the mindsets of people. So their like negativeness, like kind of projected to me as well. Like I kind of felt like, oh shit, like this is how we're going to break up. Like that's what I thought was going to happen.
Damn.
And it did the complete opposite. Like there was literally one time we fought and it was because of me and my crazy drunk ass. And that's what actually made a stop of my drinking. Cause I realized that it was turning me into like this, you know, slowing down on my drink. I'm not gonna say stop drinking.
Yeah.
I'm smart, not a fucking idiot. But,
Yeah.
but like because I would get to a level where there was no telling me to like, you couldn't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
And I did that with him. And when I saw how it affected him, I was like, I don't ever want to do that again.
Yeah.
And that was already like, we was already on the month like 6 on the road. So we like, that was our first fight. And it's so crazy to me because people, even now to this day, like we're living in our camper still. We're going to stay another year in the camper and then look for a home in Idaho, you know, because I'm trying to grind. Like I'm trying to be on the same level that he's in.
Yeah.
And I don't want someone to take care of me in that way. So I was like, give me a year. Let me stack my bread, work on my credit so we can get this home together. And even now people tell me at work, like, how the hell do you guys still live in that camper and don't kill each other? Like, it's like, she's like, I know you're saying that you guys been together for going on 3 years. It's like 5 dog years added on to that 3. There's no way. Like, she always says that to me at work, like, because a lot of people just don't understand how, if anything, we got better. And I can't believe, like, when I think about that night I got drunk and I was being stupid and I started a stupid fight, I think about like how it took 6 months to get there. Like, you would think there would have been more, you know, bickering every day or like something because it's 16-foot camper.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You can barely dance in there.
Yeah.
You know, but we love it. We just love
that's
being,
awesome.
It's like a little bubble.
Oh, it's so great to say. As your older brother, I told you, I'm super proud of you. The positivity, like the mind shift to you.
Yeah.
You were like, I mean, just the conversations you were having and the realizations of like people you needed to kind of distance yourself from. And then also, you know, maybe people that were using you as like a place where they can just come and tell you about their problems. And for you get emotionally involved. You're like me, you know what I'm saying? Like, and after a while it becomes draining for you. What's that been like looking outside in, like from a relationship standpoint, like comparing, I guess.
I feel like I actually just said this to Rachel when we were shopping today, that I was always the friend with the bullshit. Like I was the friend that had the toxic relationship. I was in, and some of my friends did too during the time, but like, because I'm so much more dramatic, it was just like always me. And now I'm in a place in my life where not only did I find a great job in Idaho, I live in this wonderful state and it makes me happy living there. And then I have this boyfriend, like, like what the fuck, like this is too good to be true. Like I'm so happy. And it's crazy because anytime I've been on this podcast, you ask me what's the main thing I think about, and I said my happiness. And that's the only thing I want to continue to keep, this happiness for as long as I can, because I can be so negative at times. Like I even find myself, you know, when we talk in the mornings on the phone on our way to work, I always say like, I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop, because it's just like, wow, my life is good. And now my friends' lives, a lot of them have shifted to where they're kind of dealing with stuff with their spouses. So like, I'm still that person that they call and they talk to. And I give advice as much as I can, because a lot of them are in completely different levels than I am, meaning like married with kids, and I'm not there. So I give my input as much as I can. But it made me notice on the road that even though I was in something happy and good and living my best life, I call them my queens, my friends, all my queens still stayed in my life, even though they were going through their shit. You know, like they never made me feel bad about my happiness. They never made me feel like, you know what, I don't want to call her because, you know, she ain't going to say no negative. Like she's not going to bitch about her situation. She's going to be too happy for me. So now looking at that, like, I'm glad that, you know, I mean, these girls have been my friends for 10 years or more. So that, like, you know, living on the other side of the country, like, I just love that they still reached out to me and they still talk to me. And it's like, there's not a day that goes by that I'm not talking to at least one of them.
What was the biggest revelation for you on this whole like trip and all that? Seeing the different countries, like the way, like what was like something you noticed, like different ways people move or things like that? Like,
honestly, it would have to be race.
Ooh.
Like how in a lot of the places we went to, I would kind of feel uncomfortable just because, like, I mean, even Idaho, picking that place, there's just a lot of white people there.
Yeah.
Like, so I think it opened my mind more on race, which is weird because I've lived in North Carolina for 10 years. And that was also leaving New York and coming out there. That was like night and day.
Yeah.
You went from blending, a melting pot of like people like blended, and then just to this place where like racism is a thing. But just seeing how even before all the, protesting and election, even before that, you can still kind of see the weariness in different countries and different states. You can still see it in this country in different places.
Like people look at you weird, or like people like.
It was, a little bit weird. I went through an incident in Colorado the night that I got drunk at the bar. I think that's what made me get so drunk was I felt like the bartender was being extremely disrespectful to me, but she was being nice to Bill.
Yeah.
And then at one point he was sick of it and he's like, let's go. But then I was like drunk Amanda was like, I'm going to fight this. Like, but it was stupid. I should have just left.
You should,
because I didn't make my shit better. Like she's ignorant. I can imagine living my life feeling the way she feels about judging people off the basis of the color of their skin.
Yeah, she's an
I should
idiot.
just left,
Yep.
So
your ego got it. The alcohol let the ego get in the way.
yeah, exactly.
Alcohol was like, yo, ego, come check this out real quick, yo. You gonna let her talk to you like that, son?
Yeah.
You gonna let her do that to you?
Yeah, like, so I did. That was a big thing for me because I think I've lived my life just feeling like, well, I don't feel like racism happens to me. Like, like white people love me, black people love me, Spanish people love me, like,
Yeah.
But then like traveling and seeing how different things like Confederate flags in certain places and things like that, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like this shit's real. It's legit real.
Oh my gosh. Like, and how does that make you feel?
Being in an interracial relationship, because we talk about it a lot, it could be challenging at times. I think mainly for him though, because he always wants to make sure I'm good and I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
Especially living in Idaho because there isn't a lot of people that look like me, but I do love it there, and I would never leave because of that. If anything, more people are moving out there, so I'm just waiting for the black folks to catch on too and come out there too. You know,
post it on your Instagram story like, yo, we need more.
My brothers and sisters, please. Like. So, but yeah, that was an eye-opening thing. And a personal one would be how strong my relationship truly is.
I love that. So you are in a strong relationship. You've been in shitty relationships. So you probably got some good advice on, for you personally, not even advice. Just give me your perspective on what you think, like what actions, what happens in a good relationship versus what happens in a bad relationship. Like,
communication. I always felt like my exes, we never communicated. Like I was a big communicator because of who I am. Like with me, there's no guessing how I feel. You just know because I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna have a face or whatever. And I've always wanted someone that can communicate. And I don't know if it's because we're both Tauruses, so we both have those kind of ways of communicating.
Yeah.
But that just changed everything. It is a game changer. And I felt like in a lot of my other relationships, I like loved the person more than they loved me. Mm-hmm. And in this relationship, he's as obsessed with me as I am with him. Okay. So it works out.
That's interesting because the position that you've been in, there's a lot of people that feel that way, So how can someone go from the person that kind of puts blinders on, doesn't look at the red flags, throws themselves into this relationship and gives someone their all that doesn't deserve it, is essentially what you're doing because you don't see the value in yourself. So you're like, this person likes me, I'm in, blah, blah, blah. How did you start that healing process so that you understood the value of yourself? I'm interested in that.
I feel like the main thing that I felt like kept making me feel like I couldn't be in something good was issues that I had like with my biological father and things like that. And then at some point I was just like, all right, bitch, you're like pushing 30. That's not an excuse anymore.
Yeah.
And that nigga's nowhere around. So like, why is that? Why is he still a topic? Like you just got to let that shit go. So with that being said, I started off with that. Just like, he may not know I forgive him, but I forgive him within myself and letting that go. And what he's done to, our mom and things like that. And then I decided like after my last relationship was actually with a girl right before I met Bill. And that was awful and toxic as well.
Yeah.
And I felt like after that, I like sat with myself and I was like, oh, okay, it's you. You're the problem. you allow these people to do these things to you. And then when they're so comfortable treating you this way because you keep allowing it, and all of a sudden I want to change, they ain't gonna change. Like I'm making them do something out of their comfort zone because they're so used to treating me like shit, me being okay with it.
Yeah, you want to put your foot down 6 months in when you've been a doormat, and they're like, "Whoa, where's the doormat at?"
Why you think I'm with you? Because you a doormat and I can do what I want, you know? So I told myself that the next relationship I got into, I was going to be, if anything I saw that I didn't like, I was going to say it. And if you could change that for me or fix it, or we can, coexist together and have conversations about it, then that's my person. But if not, then you gotta go. Because if me telling you that something hurts me or bothers you makes you feel like, oh, what? Like, then you're a child. I don't want to be with you. And I think I went from fucking with fucking boys to just like a real ass nigga. Like I just met a man.
Yeah. So what are your non-negotiables in it? Because for you to understand what you're not gonna take, you got to understand what you're not going to take. You know what I'm saying? Like for you to tell someone, hey, fuck off, this is a boundary for me.
Yeah.
You got to set those boundaries. And I think a good way is to understand, what are you absolutely not going to negotiate on? So my therapist calls it like, you need certain things to make a cake. And without that, the cake doesn't exist. Now the icing is something different. You could change up the icing. But at the end of the day, you have to have certain ingredients for a cake. But this other person, this guy, Dante Nero, calls them non-negotiables. And so what are your non-negotiables?
My non-negotiable would be when I'm working on bettering myself as an individual. Like if you and I are in a relationship and we're both like building a life together and like hyping each other up, making each other feel good, that's awesome, because that's what I have in this relationship.
Yeah.
When I started to work on me, like, slow down on the drinking. At one point I didn't drink for like 4 months. I just stopped it completely.
Yeah.
He's a drinker as well as I was. If he would have made me feel guilty for doing that, because let's say he still wanted to be drinking, I don't like, that's a non-negotiable for me. Like stopping me from bettering myself as an individual. I don't like that, because I would allow that to happen to me in a lot of relationships. Like I wouldn't better myself to make that person feel better about them. Like I always kept where I was at that level instead of kept going up levels.
So when I broke up with Rachel, that was one of the things I thought, like, which was normal. Like when you start leveling yourself up, it's normal for sometimes the partner to feel a little insecure. Like, oh, this person's picking themselves up. And instead of me having a conversation with Rachel, I took it as like, well, why is she fucking trying to hold me back? But I didn't understand like that shit just happens. Talk to them and then move forward. And since we got back together, that's happened a few times. And it's just like, kind of crazy. I'm like, if I would have just had a conversation, that could have been.
We would never had to like.
That could have helped. You know what I'm saying? But I was just being a real dude. Like, dudes are just like, I'm out of here.
Fuck out of here. She's trying to change me. I'm out of here. Like when it's like, no, talk about it.
Yes.
And that's my non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Like, or even when I started working out and I was like, okay, I gotta lose this weight, I gotta eat good. He supported me in that. He's like, let's do it together. It wasn't like, well, why you gotta go to the gym? Why you gotta work out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like it wasn't like that.
There's people like that. Like they're gonna start a new hobby and they tell their wife or girlfriend, and immediately the wife's response is like, well, you gotta like clean out the shed. Like you're like, what? What? Yeah, you're
because
like,
I don't want you to start that new shit.
Yeah. It's like, well, we got to redo the house. It's like what, the person can't have a hobby and still do their chores.
Exactly.
Like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, like exactly. That's how I feel. And even just like when we moved to Idaho, it's really hard making new friends in somewhere new.
Yeah.
And he could have easily been that kind of dude to just like was okay with that and wanted to isolate me and keep me to himself. No, it was the opposite. Like he always checks in and makes sure, like us living there, it's like, hey, like, how are you doing? Like, are you going to try to put yourself out there, make new friends? And I'm like, damn, I think you want me to meet more friends than as much as I stress it. And he's like, because I don't want, 2 years to come by and then you resent me for living here and moving out here and doing this with me because you don't have friends.
Yeah.
So I love that about him. And then I did meet a group of girls and they're great. They're awesome. And the night I went out, he was so happy for me because now he's like, cool. Now she'll be surrounded by women and she'll feel good about herself. Yeah. And it's the truth. And I think a lot of men aren't like that. I think a lot of boys aren't like that. When you meet a boy, it's very just like, well, why you gotta go out with your friends? Why you gotta do that? Like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
No, for him, it's like, go out, have fun. You need that. Like, we're up each other's ass all the time. Like, go. Yeah. And I respect that a lot.
It's like common sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like going out a couple times a month or whatever's comfortable for the people. But at some point, like, you got to go out and talk to other people. I feel like there's definitely relationships. I've seen relationships where guys don't even want to ask to go out anymore, which to me, I didn't read this in a book. This is just what I think, my opinion. I think that's emotional abuse. If you made it to the point where your significant other is afraid to ask you to go out, there's something wrong there.
Yeah.
Because,
My boss told me that he had a friend, he was married, but obviously not married anymore, but that he hated the thought of asking his wife that he wanted to go hang out with the guys because it would always lead to an argument. So what he would do is pick a fight with her. Yeah. He would pick a fight with her so that he can go. And my boss was like, I just couldn't believe that this grown man was doing that.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. It's a real bitch move because people are afraid to be honest. Like,
yeah.
People like you and I are on the same path. We were both people gift of gab, and when we were younger, we were lying pieces of shit, and we used to use it to manipulate and control and get what we want. Blah blah blah. Whether it's sex or whatever, this and that. And then as we've gotten older, we're both like, this shit is hurting our soul to lie to this level because, deep down you're a good person and whatever. So now we're using our powers for good. And I think authenticity and that communication piece you're talking about is very important. Like, to be as honest as you can in a relationship. Like, you being a real ass person, what tips can you give someone to help them be a real ass person, AKA less full of shit?
If you're comfortable with just not speaking the truth, then I just think that's just who you are, because it makes me uncomfortable not to speak my truth. Like, it makes me uncomfortable when I'm not being honest, when something bothers me. Like, one of the things that happened for me in 2020, that was one of the hardest things that I went through, was a friendship that I had for so long, we stopped being friends. We're no longer in each other's lives because of my honesty and how I felt about her and her relationship and that situation. And after we stopped being friends, when she just cut me off out of her life, it was like the worst breakup I could have ever went through. Yeah. So I put myself in a position where when my friends would come and talk to me about things, instead of me being honest, I would not lie, but I would just be like, I wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be honest with them about how I truly felt, because I was afraid shit, I'm gonna lose another friend if I continue to be this person.
Yeah.
So that probably lasted me trying to do that for 3 or 4 months. And then one of my friends was like, bro, stop it. I didn't call you to sugarcoat me. I didn't call you to coddle me. I called you because I know you would keep it real with me. And I don't know what's going on with you lately, but you're just not keeping it 100 anymore. And in that moment, when my homegirl said that to me, I was like, oh, thank God, man. Because this shit was hard. I want to be like, yo, that nigga's a piece of shit. Why you still waiting my camera? I want to do that. But instead, I'll just be like, whatever works out for you, whatever's good for you. I would do that because I was afraid of losing another friend. And after that, it's I didn't realize how uncomfortable I felt for those 3 months.
Yeah.
With my friends, until that moment I was able to just really tell her how I felt about, give her the advice I've been dying to give her. And it worked, and she did what she had to do. And on top of that, I felt good inside.
Yeah.
So I just feel if you're comfortable with just being you know what? Yeah, girl, then that's you. A real ass person would feel uncomfortable not being honest with you.
Yep.
And that it would make me sad, literally, that I couldn't say nothing. Bill would even be like, that's weird. When he would when I get off the phone, he'll be like, that's weird. That didn't sound like you. And I'm like, yo, I'm not trying to lose friends. And he will be like, stop doing that. Maybe you lost her for a reason. That was it. Yeah. That's it. And then the best advice I can give is just, if you in a shitty situation in your life, wouldn't you want someone to come and tell you the truth?
100%.
Wouldn't you want someone to tell you yo, wake up, get out of here? And that is what I keep thinking in my mind, that, we may have lost each other as friends, but I don't take back what I said or what I did. Maybe my delivery was off because we're two different people when it comes to that. I'm more louder and out there, and she's a little bit more timid.
Yeah.
So maybe my delivery was a little bit too aggressive for her, which is fine. I when we did talk and we decided that this was over, I did apologize for that.
Yeah.
But I don't take back what I said.
Yeah.
I agree with it, and I still do.
I like that you said, because you want to be told the truth. So I think that's probably the basis as we think through this, that the rock bottom for this feeling is, if you're someone that wants to be told the truth because you want to be better, live in a reality, you want to be around people that are honest. Yeah. Then you are, by obligation, you also have to be honest in a constructive manner throughout your own life. Yep. Because then it's reflected back on you. If you're tell your friends, tell me, be honest, and then you're lying to them, it's not going to be Also, even if you try it and you start being honest, by you being honest to people, because it might sting them a little bit, it might whatever. They're going to want to be honest. The moment they they're going to be like, oh, let me tell you now what you're doing wrong.
Exactly.
Which is actually very like it's a nice little cycle once you get through it. But then there's like the other side of that, because there are people that just don't want to know the truth.
Facts.
They like living in lies.
Absolutely true.
So I think the line here is like, do you want to be told the truth? If that's yes, then you got it. This is your journey to being a real ass motherfucker. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like it made me feel like being in that friendship that like I couldn't say what I needed to say because I was gonna pull a trigger, or like it was gonna make us weird for a few days.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great thing that like now I can see the bright side of all this, and I'm glad we're not in each other's lives, because that is the person that we stopped being friends because of that situation. She's still with that person. She's going to spend her life with that person. And I don't think we could have continued as friends, me feeling the way I felt. So it's a good thing for her that we're not friends, and it's a good thing for me.
Yeah. Shifts in friendships happen. They're natural, but I feel like people don't talk about friendship breakups as much as they do like romantic ones, but I feel like they're just as difficult.
Or harder.
Yeah.
Harder.
Yeah.
Because
I could agree with that.
Because she's one of the longest relationships. All the long relationships I have in my life are the women in my life, are my best friends.
Yeah.
I ain't no dude that been in my life has hit that point, So
yeah,
it's the hard, like, I mean, I felt bad for Bill too, because like he saw what it did to me and how it affected me. Like I would just cry. We would just be like, we would be on our boat when we lived here in North Carolina, taking me to a nice sunset cruise, and I would cry because like my friend was no longer my friend.
Yeah.
And like it just sucked. It sucked. And I still have moments like where I'll like mention her, or I'll be like, I've been thinking about her heavy. I hope she's doing well, And
yeah,
it's a hard thing to go through, but I think about it now and I'm like, yo, it's the best way. It's the best thing that could have happened, because if we would have continued to be friends feeling the way that I felt, and her dude not liking me because he didn't, then we would have ended nasty. It would have been bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It would have. Yeah.
Instead of the way that it ended, where it was like, hey, we actually had a conversation about it, and she told me how she felt. She felt like, she felt honestly like I was the issue. Like she felt like I was the toxic person. She didn't want to be friends with someone like that. Like after the blow up, and then we didn't talk for months. I left. I did the cross country thing. It was like the first month I moved to Idaho. She reached out and we talked. And she was honest with me. She's like, I don't want no bad blood. I still love you. And I was like, I love you too. She's like, but I'm going to be honest with you. You're not someone I want to be friends with anymore, because I feel like you are toxic. I feel like you're just not someone for me in my life. And it shocked me, because I know several people in her life who are way more toxic than me. But I was just like, you know what? I'm going to let her have this.
Well, you were being honest about her significant other.
Yeah.
Nobody else was. So she's not going to get the other person out.
No.
You were toxic because you were being honest, and she doesn't want honesty. So that to her, that's not good.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how many families and people just don't. They're like, no, they don't want to, like. The truth hurts too much to even like. They're just like they living in a freaking lie. So like, it's not that you were toxic. Here's the thing, because I know the story.
Yeah, who she is.
I know, and I know that you were not objectively not toxic. But let's play a game here where do you think you could have been toxic in the situation? You already said your tone, probably because you're
whenever
emotional.
she spoke about him or wanted to talk to me about him, I would have an attitude.
You would have, okay, yeah.
That's where I probably was toxic for sure.
Yeah,
because I just didn't.
Yeah, you didn't communicate. You were just being like, why
you even did, like, oh wait, now y'all about to get married? Oh hell no.
Oh yeah.
And I can see where my toxicness could have been even stronger, because now I'm like, oh, all this shit happened and you still going, now you said yes to him? Like, what? So it bothered me.
What's up with that? Why do we talk about this? Like, why is there like the couple that's been dating for a while, the dude fucks up royally, and then all of a sudden the engagement ring comes around,
because
and everything.
Dude knows he fucked up royally. And he knows at the end of the day too, he ain't shit, but she's the shit. And I'm never gonna get any better than that.
Yeah.
He's never gonna find anything better than that. So let me go ahead and lock it down. And I know exactly how to do it with a nice ass diamond ring.
A nice ring, something she could put on the gram, feel real good
not
about
even
it
the
all.
gram, because she's not even that kind of like, thirsty bitch. She's nothing like that.
I'm talking about outside. Like there's just
within herself.
Yeah,
she got what she always wanted, that life. That's
Yeah.
what she wanted, that life. And I give her that.
Yeah.
But I just wish it would have been with someone else. But, when we spoke and we decided like this is finale for us, I even said to her, I may feel the way I feel, but I give it to you because y'all still together. Y'all still going to get married even after this pandemic. So many people have broken up and gotten divorces. She's still holding on to hers.
Yeah.
So that feeling that she has that this is her person, it is.
That's true.
And I needed to just stop looking at it like if I was sleeping with a nigga, I wasn't sleeping with him. He wasn't, we weren't together.
Yeah.
But I get so invested in with my friends and our friendships that when they hurt, I hurt. When I feel like they're in something that they shouldn't be in, I just get too involved. And I've learned with me losing this friend that it's not me living that life. I just gotta let them live their life. But when they ask me for advice and the truth, prepare for me to keep it 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even before the blow up, I already saw our friendship shifting because she wasn't telling me things anymore. She didn't feel comfortable telling me stuff. I would find things out about her relationship through other people that didn't even know her. I would know shit. I would find out. And when that happened, that hurt me, and I was just like, wow. But now that I think about it, I didn't give, actually, she said this to me when we talked. I didn't give her a safe space to come and talk to me because of my attitude and because of the way I felt. So I definitely, I may have not used the word toxic to describe me, but when she explained how she felt, yes, I can see how I caused that. I can see how I have made her feel that way. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm grateful for it now. It does still hurt, but I'm grateful for it now because if I was still in her life, there's no way I could have sat in that wedding and been happy for her. And that's fucked up,
Yeah.
So it's a good thing.
Yeah. That's good. That's very, very mature of you. What's something, I guess talking outside of this specific person, because what she's doing is done by, that's like a type of person. A large group of people are in that situation where we talk about the guy fucks up, then there's the engagement ring, then you're planning the wedding. There's like the time distractions. Then it's 18 months to 2 years later is the wedding. Then a year or two after that is the kid. Then the other kid.
Yep.
Then after the kid's a toddler, then it's like, what the fuck? Like we don't really like each other, but we got to stay and hang out because it just looks fucked up. Like, what do you think about that? Like, because that's I feel like that's something that happens. Like people don't resolve problems, but they end up just going to the next level and going in deeper. Like,
yeah, no, I think, one of my friends is actually going through that right now. And I love her to death because she's so fucking real, man. Like it's so refreshing talking to her because it's like, and I can be honest with her in a real way to where it can sound mean. And she takes that and she gets it. Like, she has, her kids and she's married and she's starting to realize, that this is going to end in a divorce. It is what it is. But her main thing was, why do I feel this way now? Like, why is this coming up now? Like, he's always been this person that may have been a great father, but not the greatest to me. But why now? And I was like, yo, let me keep it real with you. Anytime that nigga has done anything, you will end up getting pregnant. That was always a thing. They was already married, but then they would add another kid. And then they had a goal set to get a house. So all the kids came, they stopped having kids, they got their house now. So now you got your house. Everything is looking great. You financially good now. You saved up that goal. You made the goal of saving up money to buy a house with your husband together. You stopped having kids and now you're sitting in this house with your kids and looking at this nigga and like, oh shit, I don't even like you. Because your mind now is empty. There's no more distractions.
Yeah.
So now you're thinking about spending the rest of your life with this person who doesn't treat you good and still doesn't treat you good.
Yeah.
And when I said that, she was like, fuck, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And now I want to be something other than just a wife and a mom. I want to be who I am, me,
Good.
And I love her for that. And like, even like, a lot of things that people do and people in my life do, it's like their dudes could fuck up. And I'm guilty of this too when I used to be in shitty relationships.
Yeah.
My dude will mess up. And then the moment he starts acting right, I'm like, oh, we're all good now. We're so happy. And like, da-da-da. And like, that shit's annoying because it's like, she gonna go back to me in a month and bitch about him again. Nothing has changed. In her situation, when because she's vocalized to her husband for years how she felt. Like she wasn't happy. He wouldn't change nothing because he was happy. That's what he would say, and finally, when she decided, I'm done talking about it. It's been, I've been unhappy for years now at this point. I'm going to make a move now. I want a separation. I want a divorce. Then he starts acting like 2.0 as husband. And I thought when he started doing that, she was going to be one of those girls to be like, well, he's acting better. Nah, she's such a fucking empowering woman that she like straight up was like, that shit is pissing me the fuck off. Because now you could have been the nigga that I've been asking you to be.
Yep.
And you chose not to be.
Yeah.
But because now I'm leaving, you want to show me the person I know you could have been.
Yep.
And that made me respect her so much more when she said that shit to me on the phone. And one day I know you'll have her on your podcast because I know you and her have conversations.
Yeah,
And I want her to tell her story in depth because I think a lot of women are in her position
100%.
and don't know how to leave and don't know, especially because financially they put a lot of that on their husband or they feel like, how can I do the whole kid thing by myself? But no, reality, when you in this house watching these women, they already doing everything by themselves. And that nigga's just an extra kid standing there. Because he ain't helping. He's giving you a headache too. He's not making you feel good about yourself. Like, and I told her that the woman, she's a bad bitch. And he was slowly taking that away from her too.
Yeah. So
now my friend's back and she badder than ever and she feels good about herself. And because now she's like, I lost me.
Yeah.
Like she did the most amazing thing. And I think if anyone that's ever going through something that she's going through, she hired a photographer, a makeup artist, and did a photo shoot for herself to feel good about her.
Nice.
And when she told the photographer what she was doing, the photographer broke down crying because she just got through in a divorce. And she said, I know exactly how you feel.
Oh, gosh.
I just feel like women, and I thought it would be better now because we have so many great, strong women like as example right now in our lives and even in medias and stuff like that. And I thought that like that would kind of take a shift on girls like, I've had enough. I've seen a few people feel like that, like, okay, I've had enough, like I'm better than this.
Yeah.
But then it's sad to see some people who are still dealing with it because they feel like it's all I got, is what I have to do.
Yeah, they feel like either because it's you said the finances thing is big.
Yeah.
My thing is
and
like
the kids, when people have kids.
If you're a person that's already splitting the bills with somebody and you're already doing all this stuff, you're not getting your needs, I think fucking go. But like I guess it is harder for people that financially can't afford it, but there has to be a way where you can bounce, get a small ass apartment
and be good
and be fucking good. And start even if you like. What pisses me off are the people that have money, really good stuff, and they're like, yeah, no, this house is too big. I'm gonna stay here.
Yes.
I know guys like that that are like, I want to leave, but I don't want to give her half my shit. I was like, then whatever the number of that half is, that's the price you put on your freedom.
Not even that. You don't want to give her half of material things, but you're giving her half of your soul.
Ooh.
But you're okay with giving that. You're okay with waking up every day and half your soul is gone because you're not happy. When the niggas that pull up into the driveway and sit there for an extra 15 minutes because they don't want to go inside their house.
I know guys that they have spare keys to their friends' apartments.
I know that too.
And they go and they hang out during the day because they don't want to go home.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason,
Yeah. And it's like, that's not worth it.
Nah.
It's not worth. I've been that girl. I've been the girl that gave half my soul to someone. Legit. And like I would have given my whole thing if it meant keeping him. And we didn't even have kids. Like, and I think about a lot of people that I know with kids that go through it, and I try to give as much advice as I could, but I don't know what that's like to have a child and also go through a toxic relationship.
Yeah,
I just know how to go through toxic. I know what to get out of toxic relationships. I can give you advice on that. But to have a kid, so sometimes I feel like I can't give you the advice because I don't know that feeling. I don't know what that's like. And I'm never going to know that feeling. I don't want kids. Yeah. So I'm never going to know that. So, but my homegirl, like the one I said that she keeps it real, like she's so real that she tells me all the time, don't have them. Straight up. And she loves her kids. She's a great mother, but she'll say straight up to me, don't have them.
Yeah.
What's going to ruin you is having a kid.
I respect people like that. Where they're like, don't do it. Or like, if I could rewind time, I wouldn't do it. I would like that. I respect that a ton.
I know, me too, compared to the people that's like, are you kidding me? That's so selfish. Yeah, like being a mother is just like, really? Because I hear the shitty shit about it more than the good shit.
Yeah.
So like,
So I understand when people say you wouldn't understand because you're not a kid, because I think that's objectively true. Like, I think there's the hormones and like the connection.
There's a fact.
Biology. What I don't get is when people are like, you wouldn't understand. You wouldn't understand because you're not married. I'm like, hold up.
What
like,
the fuck does that mean?
People have been married. They've been known each other for like 5 years, married for 2. Will try to like tell me that, and I've been with my girl for 8, and I'm in a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? That makes me not want to get married. What does that mean?
Yeah, you're right. It's a scary thought too.
Yeah, what's the point?
Because people, and Bill has said this to me before, because I asked the same thing, because he knows I don't want to get married either. And he says that it's a harder breakup. Like, when you don't have the marriage papers
Yes.
and that, it's like you gonna think extra twice before leaving because you're married. Like, for him, when he stood as long as he was in his marriage, even though she was cheating on him, he stood in it because for him, it's like, we're married and we got a kid too.
Yeah.
But we're married. Like, it's just so much more work of a breakup if we break this off. It's not just, and you and Rachel's situation, yes, you guys have this house, you guys combine things, whatever, but bye. Like, but when you're married, that was the person, like, in front of everyone. And a lot of it is because of that too. We got married. In front of everybody. So now I gotta tell everybody we divorced now.
Yeah.
Like, nah, I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
So they try to work harder and staying in it. So like it's interesting because when I got my job in Idaho, recently they were doing interviews with plumbers. And I had asked every time somebody left, they were like, well, you guys stink. And we would tell how we feel. So I said, wait, now we're talking about this. Like, I've only been here for like 3 months. How you guys felt after I left my interview? He's like, I knew I wanted to hire you. I knew you were strong. I knew you'll be here. I just knew the work ethic. I said, but what was the thing that was off about me? He was like, honestly, that the whole traveling the cross country and not having kids and not being married. And I said, why?
Oh, damn.
And I said, why? He goes, well, first, the whole driving cross country, living in a camper, like, you came off as a nomad. Like, maybe she'll just get this job for a few months and bounce, and I don't want to put my effort on training someone and then she leaves. I respected that completely. I was like, oh, I get that. Like, if I wouldn't have gotten the job because of that, I get it. But I was like, what do you mean about not having kids and not getting married? He's like, stability. I didn't have anything that would keep me.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have something like, oh, I need a job because I have a kid I got to feed. And he saw the hustle in me, but it worried him. And I said, and what about the married part? He's like, it's your boyfriend you moved out here with. Like, what if you guys don't work out? I'm like, but why I gotta be married? So what if a married couple packed up and left and did what we did and left their family and started somewhere new?
Yeah.
They can also divorce. That could also be their divorce. It's the fact that they're somewhere new and she's not happy or he's not happy and they want to be closer to their family again.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be that? He's like, I thought about it. He even said, I thought about that. And honestly, I can't give you the answer. It just made me feel like she's going to bounce.
Yeah, because marriage to this day still gives people that weird sense of security. And for some people it is, but it really, at the end of the day, is not. Because like you said, somebody can still cheat on you. They can still be a piece of shit. That's how when people are like, oh, I personally don't like the term looking for marriage because that's weird. To me, you should be looking for a healthy relationship and marriage should be a byproduct of that. Like because you could lie about your marriage and the way it looks and the way it is. And you could just be married with some fucking schmuck just because you don't want to be single when you were 30. But a healthy relationship is something you can't fake. You can't fake that. You can fake a marriage. Or not. You know what I mean? Like, you could fake the idea of a marriage. You can't fake a healthy relationship. Like,
It's true. I think it's actually, and then when I said this to Bill, because he always talks about marrying me. And when I said this to him, he was like, oh shit, I never thought about that. I think it's actually harder to keep the boyfriend and girlfriend going for so long because we're not married. So if I want to go do me, if I want to leave, and that's that thing, quotation marks I'm doing now, like the stability or like the I'm married, I can't do that. It's not there. So I think it's actually harder to actually choose each other every day as boyfriend and girlfriend. That's one of my pros for not being married. One is the fact that the person can just leave if they're not into it. Yeah. They don't have that extra wall of legal fees and like you said, it is harder, if you are married. They get to leave. Oh, and you just test the relationship, I think, on a deeper level. Yes. Like, you want to stay together. I was talking to a buddy who's thinking about asking his girlfriend
to do an open relationship. But he wants to do the open one where he gets to do what he wants and the other girl does.
Yeah.
And
that's
I'm like,
not open. That's you cheating. You want to cheat on me and me be okay with it. And like, that's what you want.
Like, even if someone were to agree with that, I still think that's kind of weird. Like, if you're like, okay, like, I'll do that. Like, it's different if they're like open and one person just chooses not to sleep. But to like lay it out like that, I think is weird. But when he said that, I was like, I think that's stupid. Like, for me, I would want, because his excuse was, I'll just go and have sex. She'll fall in love with somebody else. Like that was like his excuse.
Yeah.
And I was like, for me, that would make me want to see if she's going to fall in love with somebody else. Because if proximity and just being allowed to is going to make you leave, then go. We don't need to be together. Like, we don't need, I don't want that. Like, I don't know.
No, like my best guy friend, like my homie, he called me one day and asked me, he asked me and Bill, because we were together that day. He's like, I want to ask you guys something. Like, how would you feel if your spouse came home and told you, like, hey, I don't have no intentions on cheating on you. I don't care to cheat on you. But if I'm going to go out the country somewhere, and there's a possibility that I might get drunk and do something stupid. If I come to you and talk to you about it first before it happens, how does that make you feel? And I was like, I love that shit.
100%. That's gangster.
Because I think that's the realest thing you could do, because we're talking about the possibility.
Yeah.
And you're including me in it. You might even get the okay because it's on the other side of the country. Just make sure you have protection, because I don't want no baby to come back.
Yeah.
Or you come home and bring me some shit. Like,
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a real man shit. And I was because he was like, good, because I had that conversation with my girl last night. And I love that. And that was her response to it too. The most sweetest, timid girl that he's ended up with. And she was like, thank you for coming to me and talking to me about this. Let's talk about that.
I think the relationship gets deep, probably got deeper after that. Like,
and in all reality, I don't even think after like the chick is cool with it, or she's like, you know what, now that we're talking about it, he ain't gonna want to do that shit.
Yeah, it goes away.
It goes away. Yeah. Like that feeling that you felt like you wanted to or whatever, like it goes away.
Yeah. That's I think having the tough conversations is when you're trying to be a good man, which is fucking hard to do. Like,
yes,
but having the tough conversations, I think, is the foundation of being a good man to your girl. Like, being honest.
Yes.
There's times Rachel acts in a way where I'm like, and I'm sure it's the same thing with me. Like, you act in a way where you're like, I got to talk to this person now about how they're acting. Yep. Like, I got to have this, and it's uncomfortable. And when she's had the conversation with me, I've had the conversation with her, but it's something that needs to be had, because there becomes that deeper appreciation for I think, for each other. Because
if I didn't have these deep conversations, have these conversations with you, that means I don't want a future with you. That means I don't care if this ends. Me having these conversations with you and come to, it's because I want this shit to work.
Yes.
Because you my nigga. Like, I want we best friends. You feel me? Like, I want you for life. So we don't have these uncomfortable conversations, because I'd rather have the truth conversations. I'd rather have no secrets. I'd rather have those fights where we up all night talking about it, because it's you I want to do this with. Nobody else.
Yeah, I love that. Like, when you get to a point too, like, arguments don't feel like arguments.
No.
They just feel like they're just intense discussions.
Yeah.
And afterwards, there's this feeling of like, oh, fuck, we got through that. Like, more times than not, it's like, because you're both willing to come up and be like, oh shit, you're right, I fucked up.
Yeah.
Or that's huge. Admitting when you're wrong and trying to do better for each. Because I always think too, like, how could I have fucked that up? Where was it my fault? Like, just little things like that, I think, help. But that feeling of like, oh damn, we got through this argument. Something was there was resolution at the end, not just like we didn't sleep together that night and we didn't really talk about it, but we're just we're gonna joke around and act like nothing ever happened. Like,
and there's a very sexy thing about it. Like, it turns you on when you guys do that.
Oh yeah,
like,
for sure.
You look at that person and like, yeah, now we're gonna have some good sex because we just got over that. Like, it makes me feel good. Like, especially in my relationship now, like, we don't argue. Like I said, like, that was probably one of the biggest fights we ever had. A lot of it is just we talk. When we on date nights, we're talking. Yeah. Like, and you would think there would be shit we got to talk about because we in the 16-foot camper, we up each other's ass No, we talk. And that's honestly, I have been so blessed with finding someone that does that. Yeah. Like, even the other day, like, example, I came home on Wednesday and I knew I was going to come out here, so I had to pack and shit. So I heated up my food in the microwave to eat and I put it on the table and I started starting to pack my suitcase, and he's like, no, sit down and eat your food. I was like, nah, it's cool. Like, I just want to pack. And he was like, no, sit down because I want to talk to you. How was your day? And like,
Oh,
that was a
shit.
whole different level. And I was just
Damn.
like, all right, babe. And I smiled and I was like, all right. And I sat down and I started talking to him and I'm eating my dinner. And like, it was like, damn, like almost 3 years. And we've been in this camper for a year, you know, and you still just want to hear about my basic ass day.
I love that.
Isn't it's, you know,
It's
like
beautiful.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I was just like, damn, like all right. And I asked for that. I definitely did. After my last 2 relationships where I really felt hard for these people and I felt like their lack of communication. And a lot of it made me realize that their childhoods and families also have that problem.
Oh,
so they
yeah,
just
yeah.
carry that on.
Yeah.
I met someone
My
that
nigga, you getting on some next level shit. You're like a Jedi master now. You're like it's not really their fault. It's because they're just
Yeah.
copying what their parents did.
Taught
so
them.
that's called empathy right there. You gotta be able to connect because you do the same shit.
Yeah.
That's like
No, it's the truth. And now I always ask for that. And I got it like on an extra level. Like always communicating.
I'm happy for you. We got to do another one of these because I feel
I know.
like we got to do another one of these. We got to go off to
We got
Charlotte.
more deeper than like funny, ha ha ha, like
Yeah.
what we be doing. But
Yeah.
I still think this was a good one for just people to, you know, we covered, you know, relationships and we even cover friendships. And like you said, I don't think a lot of people talk about that.
Yeah.
And it's a really hard thing to go through in life, especially when you feel like you're growing and that person is no longer there to show that growth too.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Oh God, yeah.
You know, you want them a part of this growth. You want them a part of this. And, you know, one thing I will say before we get off here, too, it's because it's something that I always say, like, I want to make sure of my happiness and things like that. Like, I think I said this in the last podcast and I'll say it again. Like, if you are in a position in your life where you are not happy, you can make yourself happy. You can get there with the effort. All the effort you put in to stay in something toxic, imagine what you can do to actually be in something good and healthy. And I'm the true example of that because I actually found that. And even if we don't work out, because I'm not naive, oh my God, we're going to be together forever. Like shit may happen and we may not be, but at least I know there's men like that out there that will value exactly who I am and I don't
Yep.
have to change it. If anything, I change for the better. And like I was telling my homegirl, because she was in a really dark place the other day and she was just like, sometimes I just feel I wish I wasn't here. And I told her, listen, I was there. I've tried it too. But I'm going to explain something to you. If the bitch from 5 years ago wasn't here today to see this bitch now, I will be tight. I would be so mad at myself if I would have given up.
Yeah.
Because who I am now is just so beautiful and so great. And I believe that everyone, especially women, we can get there. You just have to want it.
I love that. You got anything you want to promote?
Vital Vibes. Go check it out. www.vitalvibes.
Vital Vibes.
myvitalvibes.com. It's a great website for women. You can, it's my homegirl actually. She's a mom of 3, married, and she's fire. She started her own business, and I definitely want to promote that for her. Go check it out. And Isla as well, one of my homegirls, that's hers. Go support the children and help out, especially in the time of needs right now with virtual learning, and help out these kids getting what they need, the necessities they need in order to strive in this situation that's happening right now.
I love it. Guys, there you have it. Subscribe to FredTalk and share the episode with a friend. I'm trying to do this full time. Help a brother achieve his dreams. I've given out free content. If you follow me on Instagram and shit, YouTube, I've made you laugh. I've made you think. I've held up my end of the bargain. Just hit the share button and pass this episode or any of my episodes with somebody you care about. All right. I love you guys and see you on the next one. Bye.